ma'am.
I'll just turn on my camera. Shall I?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Please start.
Can you see?
Okay, sir. Yes, ma'am.
A very good evening to all. I'm Rahmat Alima. I'm a 9th standard student from GMHSS Venarmudu. First of all, I heartily welcome our honorable inaugurator, the RP, our respected teachers, and my dear friends to the 80th session of Lab. I would like to thank you all for joining with us in this program. We cannot deny the importance of English in the present time. It is clear that English has become more dominant around the world as it is one of the most spoken languages in the world. It improves our communication skills and it also improves and widens our employment prospects. Now, let's start our program with a prayer song. I call upon Paurnami from GHS Tachangare for the prayer song.
There shall be showers of blessing. This is the promise of love. There shall be seasons refreshing, sent from the Savior above. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the showers we plead. There shall be showers of blessing, precious reviving again. Over the hills and the valleys, sound of abundance of rain. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the showers we plead. There shall be showers of blessing, send them upon us, O Lord. Grant to us now a refreshing. Come and honor thy word. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the showers we plead. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the showers we plead.
Thank you, Paurnami, for making us feel in the presence of God Almighty. Now, I would like to call Haya Khalil from CKG MHSS Chingapuram for delivering the welcome speech.
A dream written down with a date becomes a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. A very good evening to one and all gathered here. I'm Haya Khalil of CKG MHSS. On this auspicious occasion, I would like to welcome you all for the Language Acquisition Program. LAB is at its 80th chapter that is conducted by English Graduate Association. Its intention is constructive communication for HS and HSS pupils. It's our pleasure to welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, DEO Malappuram Seidalavi Mangatu Paramban to inaugurate today's meet. The essence of this session is revealing by Honorable RP Dr. V.K. Karthika, Faculty of English NIT Trichy. I welcome her to this program. Welcome the respected Narayan sir to the meet. Your leadership and you keep on influencing us. We welcome you, sir. I welcome Anamika GVHSS Tiruvillamala, who is presiding over this meet. I extend my welcome to the Anger Rahmat Alima of GHSS Vanyaramodu, Paurnami, who gives prayer, and Sia Rahman, GHSS Madapalli, who express thanks here. Thank you.
Thank you, Aya. Next, I would like to welcome Anamika from GVHSS Tiruvillamala for the presidential address.
A warm and graceful good evening for everyone. I'm Anamika yes from GVHSS Tiruvillamala. Today we all gathered here for the 80th episode of LAP Language Acquisition Program presented by English Graduates Association. Today we are all blessed with the presence of the inaugurator and Alfie. The inaugurator of this auspicious occasion is Saidalavi Mangatu Parampan sir. He is the DEO of Malappuram. And our today's RP is Dr. V.K. Karthika ma'am. She is a faculty of English, National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli. Then our anchor, Rahmat Alima from GMHS's Vinyaramud, then Parnami from GHS Tachangar, who sung a beautiful prayer song, then Haya Khalil from CK GMHS's Chingapuram, who delivered the welcome speech, and our Sia Rahman from GHS's Madapalli to deliver the vote of thanks. All the best for each and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Anamika. Now, I heartily welcome our Honorable Inaugurator, Saidalavi Mangatu Paravan sir. He is the DEO of Malappuram. I welcome you, sir.
Good evening to all. Am I audible?
Sure, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks. Good evening to all. I am Saidalavi Mangatu Paramban, District Educational Officer, Malappuram. I am from Kondoti in Malappuram district. I am very proud and happy to inaugurate the 80th episode of English Graduates Association's Language Acquisition Program. I thank you. I am thanking you for inviting me to this episode, 80th episode. Today, this program is leading Dr. V.K. Karthika, Faculty of English, NIT Trichy, and several pupils of high schools and higher secondary schools across Kerala are participating in this episode. I am very happy to participate in this episode and to inaugurate this episode of English program. Today's program is constructive communication. We are living in a world of communication, especially in English. So today's topic is very important. I request you, all of the students or peoples of the participants, to listen the topic and speech fully till the end of the program. I know these peoples or the students are very interesting in this program because this is the 80th episode. It is your interest is the reason for this 80th episode. I am suggest you to participate in the coming episodes also. It is very interesting and very useful to you all students, especially the 10th standard students, as well as the 11th and the 12th standard students. We are living now in a global society. English is English is a global language, and communicating a language out of Kerala state, we are very useful. English language is very useful to us to communicate. Malayalam is using only in our state, but English is not so. It is a global language, and we are using in all fields. English is using students and other teachers, as well as all people are using English in the world, everywhere. So we students, peoples of our institutions, especially schools and our secondary schools, to acquire talent in English language. English is very needed, or useful to all of our students. So this program, English Graduate Association's Language Acquisition Program, is very useful. I think it is very useful to the participants, to the students, to the peoples of various schools. Because the students of various schools are anchoring this program, and welcome speech, vote of thanks, all are by the students of our schools. I am very happy to our students are participating in this program very interestingly. They are leading the program. In the following class, in the next class of our RP, Dr. Karthika, she will speak us about the constructive communication. It is, I think it may be very interesting to the students and to the participants. So I am very happy to participate in this program, and I declare that this episode is inaugurated by me for everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for spending your valuable time with us. Now, I welcome the RP of our today's session, Dr. V.K. Karthika ma'am. She is the Faculty of English in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences at the NIT Tiruchirappalli. I heartily welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I missed a few names. I can see the names with which you have logged in. Rukia. Yeah, so thank you very much for the warm introduction. Am I audible?
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, so Rukia, that ID that you are logged in from, what's your name? The one who compared, one who welcomed me just now. Your name? Can you tell me your name? Well, we are going to talk about constructive communication. So I need a name to be called in between. The one who just welcomed me, the girl who welcomed me.
Teacher Rahmat Alima.
Alima. So I'll call Alima. All right, fine. I just need a name for communication. And thank you very much, Narayanan sir, for having me over. And thank you to the inaugurator as well, Saidalavi sir. Thank you very much. Um, Now, let me just tell you a few things before I begin. I've been quite interested in the chats that were going on here. Advait, are you all right, Advait? The 8th standard student, Advait, can you speak to me? You had a very vibrant discussion going on about Instagram and all. Yeah? You wanted to know everybody's name. Labib, what's next? Hmm? I'm going to talk to you about constructive communication. So, when we had the inauguration being done, there were quite a few people chatting in the chat box, and some of us were listening. Some of us might be doing something else. I have no idea because you all have got your cameras off, muted. Anything can be done, right? So, we can just predict. But let me tell you, the world is very different, as Sir has pointed out in his inaugural address. It's a very challenging kind of world. We've moved into something like a very cosmopolitan kind of society. So, there you just, it's not enough if you have communication, but it should be constructive. Okay, so we are going to look at various aspects of what is called this concept like constructive communication. If it is too difficult for you, I will try to make it as simple as I can. But if it just goes over your head, let me know. Okay, in the chat box. I'll watch it out at times. But there is a problem when I start sharing the screen, then it's difficult for me to come back to the screen. But let's see how it goes, okay? I'll just share the entire screen and we'll go here. Can you see my screen, Alima?
Yes, yes, teacher.
Yes, good. So, yes, constructive communication. What I would like you to do is to just tell you about the importance of communication first. Then we'll just talk about spoken and written communication. Then we will just look at some problems, some common errors in English, some strategies, techniques to overcome difficulty. So, Advait and your gang, you can actually listen in, okay? Then we'll have discussions. If you have any questions, you can ask me, okay? Now, I won't be able to see the chat box right now. So, Alima, if there is any questions coming in the chat box, you can interrupt and let me know. All right, Alima?
Okay, teacher.
Yeah, if there is any questions, only then. Yeah, can you see a picture on my screen? And Alima, you just monitor. I need one or two people to just tell me what does this picture indicate. They can use the hand raise option and you can pick the first one who raised the hand. Do this logistics for me, Alima. What is this picture? What can you see here and what do you understand from this picture?
It looks like two trees. I see two faces in the tree and some birds.
Okay, that's what you see. Your name?
Rahmat Alima.
Alima. Okay, Alima is answering. Alima, somebody else. You call somebody else. You are the next teacher, co-teacher. So you just call somebody else. I need someone else to answer. So many smart kiddos are there. So
Ma'am, can I respond?
yes, please. Who is this?
I'm Lakshmi.
Lakshmi. Go ahead, Lakshmi.
Okay, so I saw here two human faces and some birds and some ranges of trees.
Are they two human faces or, as Alima said, they are trees which look like
Yes,
human
ma'am.
faces?
That's tree, but actually It looks like a human face.
Okay. And what else?
Ma'am, can I
Yeah,
respond?
may I?
Yes, the male voice here. Who is that?
That's me, ma'am, Deepak Arun.
Deepak. Tell me, Deepak.
What I can understand from this picture is that it is a pictorial representation of two people exchanging ideas in the form of, let's say, give the two people the faces out in the points of, let's say, in the representation of a tree.
Mm.
In the form of tree, it's represented as they're exchanging ideas, mutually exchanging ideas in a very peaceful manner. And yes, the birds are taking the form of the ideas, and the trees are taking the place of the people, the two people.
Excellent. Okay. Which class do you study in, Deepak?
Tenth, ma'am.
10th. Very good. Excellent. So thank you very much. Yes, basically what Deepak said is the correct answer of the question that I asked. Because um, trees and birds, they perch there. That is where they live. And they are shaped like two human heads. Okay. And have you looked at it? It's very interesting that he said the word ideas. Okay. And it is exactly ideas transferring. Why didn't he say words? Because it just came from the head part of it, right? So somehow we all associate that all ideas are situated in our heads. And when we communicate, it's not just words that come through, the entire idea that is there in our mind that travels. Right. So the birds signify or the birds stand for our ideas. And he said in a very peaceful manner. How did he manage that peacefulness in this picture? Can somebody tell me, other than Deepak, can somebody tell me why would Deepak think that they're exchanging ideas in a peaceful manner? Can somebody else tell me? Other than Alima, Lakshmi, and Deepak, I heard one more voice just before Deepak popped in. Who was that? The girl, the female voice. It'll be very boring if I lecture because this is supposed to be a communication platform, right? You are acquiring language.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am,
Um,
can you hear me?
yes, very well. Your name?
Yeah, I was the girl. I think my name is Irene.
Mm.
I think
Irene.
that yes, I think that they are exchanging ideas in a peaceful manner because the birds are flying over the two heads. So and the pictorial the view is just so peaceful that the art looks so peaceful.
All right, very good. Art looks so peaceful, and you look at the roots, they're very much grounded. The trees are so rooted in their own spaces, right? If there are some kind of problems, then that is not how they would be. They would be, but then also look at the way the faces are structured. They're just so interested in each other, looking at each other, leaning a little forward, not like leaning back but leaning forward, and then communicating the ideas, so many ideas, and then some of them are being exchanged. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Irene. So this is what should happen ideally in our lives, when be it with your friends, rather than saying pode, podi, all sorts of things which I saw in the chat box. Other than that, we should have, I mean, for fun, yes, that's right, but then we need to look at the kind of context in which we speak as well. So you might have a certain kind of vocabulary or certain kind of words that you use at home when you are with your parents or siblings. But then when you talk to your mom or when you talk to your dad, you won't be using the same kind of diction that you would be using with your little brother or elder brother. The language changes. You know how to respect someone. You know where to dilute that respect. You know how to be friendly with someone. What kind of language can you use? All sorts of things. But then this gets complicated if the idea of constructive communication is not very rooted, not very grounded in your head. So we need to understand the first point that we both made, the inaugurator and myself, we both made in the beginning, that the world is very challenging. You are in a global scenario. You have no idea who will you come in touch with. You look at it. I could see with, along with me, there were 96, 97 people when I looked at the screen. And at one point it was 100. So many people here. So you can use the chat box, not right now, but then you know that there are so many people here and they are from different background. The variety of English that they speak might be very different. Some people will have a very accented English. Some people will have a neutralized accent. Some people will have a typical Malayali accent, but that doesn't bar the communication. What bars the communication is our mental blocks and is our carelessness. So I'm going to tell you some important aspects about the importance of communication that you need to understand. And if you just imbibe it in your head, absorb it in your head, then things will become easy, because one has to understand why they need constructive type of communication in whichever language. I'm going to focus on English, but constructive communication is not language specific. It has to be in any language. You speak Malayalam, you speak Hindi, you speak Tamil, whichever is the language, you need to be constructive in that communication. Don't destroy people with the words. So now just to check whether we are on the same page, I'm going to give you a puzzle. Okay. If you already know the answer, don't shout it out. You people just be quiet, because I know the answer. I'm not going to give it. So people who already know the answer, don't shout it out. But I would like everybody to get a paper and a pencil and try out this brain teaser. Okay, if you already know the answer, don't say that. Keep it with you. Let's see how people can work out. Okay, this is a word. You need to find the word. Okay, find me. I am a 7-letter word. If you take my first 2 letters, I stand for a male. If you take my first 3 letters, I stand for a female. If you take my first 4 letters, I stand for a male again. I am a 7-letter word and I stand for a female. Can you think of it? 7 letters are there. You need to find out, and some clues are given. Work it out. If you already know, don't say that. Shush, hush. Alima, you watch the chat box and watch the hands being raised. If somebody wants to tell me something about this, once you get the answer, you can. I'll give you 1 minute or 2 minutes, maybe. Try this.
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
Can't you see it on the slide?
No, ma'am.
You can't? My slides are not moving?
No, we can't see.
There's no
You are
presentation.
sharing answered.
What are you seeing now? It's just the trees?
No, ma'am. We are just seeing you. The screen is not seeing. Sharing screen is not seeing.
Why is it so?
There's no presentation in the
I
screen.
think someone played over there.
Is it, Deepak? I'll
It's
stop
not
sharing.
their range problem. It's already shared, no?
I'll just share it again. Alima, is it visible now?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, it's visible now.
Great. Yeah, alert me if there is some problem with this screen sharing. I'll tell you when I move to the next slide. So this is the question. I'm a 7-letter word. If you take my first 2 letters, I stand for a male. Very, very easy clue actually. If you take my first 3 letters, I stand for a female. Even better. If you take my first 4 letters, I stand for a male again. I am a 7-letter word and I stand for a female. Don't Google. Use your brain. Alima, any responses? Nothing yet? Deepak, you know the answer?
Not even a clue, ma'am. Not even a clue.
Try it out. If you get the second one right, then I think you are done.
Ma'am, in the first clue, is it he?
How can it be she in the first clue? If you take my first two letters.
He, ma'am.
Ah.
Heroine?
Oh, very good. Who said heroine? Who said heroine?
Dia.
Huh?
Fatima Dia.
Dia, very nice, Dia. Well done. Heroine is the right answer. If you take my first two letters, I stand for a male. So H-E, he. And if you take my first three letters, I stand for a female, her. And then if you take the first four letters, if you add an O there, then it becomes hero. And then you can guess it, heroine. Okay, thank you. Just wanted to check we are on the same page. Okay, so thank you very much for participating. Good. So I thought you wouldn't find it because I didn't see many positive signs. Now, this is another thing that you need to look at. Okay, just look carefully at the pictures and the wording. So the first one as proposed by the project sponsor, second one as specified in the project request, third one as designed by the senior architect, fourth one as produced by engineers, next one as installed at the user site, and the last one what the customer really wanted. There is a problem, right? I'm sure that you all understand that there is a problem. The last, the last picture is what the customer wanted actually. But then we looked at what got installed at the user's site, like what he or she has got. Funny. So why did this happen? Can somebody tell me?
A lack of proper communication.
Lack of proper communication. Anything else that comes to your mind? Others? Thank you, Deepak.
Ma'am, I think the architects and the people concentrated on the tree rather than what the customer really wanted.
Yes. So all these miscommunication happened because they were not properly listening and trying to understand what the customer actually wanted. Have you played this game? We all sit in a circle or stand in a circle and say something in the ear of the next person, and that person repeats the same. Whatever he or she hears will be said to the next person's ears, and that whispering goes on and on. And finally, when it comes to this person, and that person has to say it loud, it will be totally different. I used to play that game when I used to go to my maternal, Taravadu. So it's we all cousins used to play this. So the thing that I say will be totally different because people hear it very badly. They don't really get the essence of it. Whatever they hear, they just transfer. So something, if I say something like Taj Mahal, by the time it goes there, it will be like Manyal or something. Totally different. Okay. So there are some aspects of it. When I do that, I make sure that there is some confusion, first of all. Second thing is that I just whisper, I'll be just murmuring. I won't be saying it very clearly. So your auditory system, that means the way you produce sounds, that can also influence the way people perceive your ideas. So if I am going to murmur, that is why we check the audibility, right? Am I audible? Can you hear me? All sorts of questions. So if you don't understand what I say, it can be of two different reasons. One is that poor audibility. That is external things. Google Meet or maybe my camera is not capturing my voice well. Whatever could be the reason. It can be technical issues like that, external issues, or maybe lots of noise here or lots of noise at your end. You won't be able to hear. So external kind of communication barriers are there. At the same time, maybe I'm speaking too fast and you don't understand. Maybe I'm speaking in, using words which you are not very familiar with. So not knowing the language aspects can also generate problems. Okay, there is a third level as well. People who do not really try to understand the idea. So there is external, language based, and ideational based challenges that happen in every single miscommunication. So miscommunication is a result of all these things. Therefore, the point of showing you this picture is that we need to really work on all three grounds. Okay, we need to make sure that we have enough peace and quiet to talk to convey our ideas to the other person over the telephone, over Google Meet or Zoom meeting, whatever, or maybe in person kind of talk, whatever it is. We have ample, rooted, well based kind of quiet atmosphere to communicate what we want to communicate. Next is the language. There's no point in communicating with such posh language. So, for example, if you're talking in Malayalam, you use a normal day-to-day Malayalam, right? You don't use it like how C.V. Raman Pillai has written in his Martanda Varma. You won't be using that kind of language. You will be using a very normal kind of Malayalam. So, for example, if you want to say that, can you come here? You will, and if you are saying it to your friend, you will just say Ingwa. You won't say അങ്ങേക്ക് ഇവിടേക്ക് ആഗതനാകാൻ സാധിക്കുമോ. You won't use that kind of language until and unless you want to make fun of the entire situation. Okay, so the kind of diction in the sense, the kind of words, the vocabulary that we choose makes a big difference in the communication loop. So if I am using the vocabulary that probably Shashi Tharoor uses, it will be very difficult for everybody to understand. So basically, the purpose of communication is to have mutual understanding. When I say something, you should be able to understand, and you need to, you have to be able to respond to that as well. So I say all these things, and if you sit there and nod your head, there is no communication happening. Either a question or some kind of understanding, maybe making notes. Something should happen if you're receiving the information properly. So that receptivity was not here in this context when the customer was conveying the need to the sponsor, and then from each stage that communication lapse had happened. Understood. So the third one is even more important. The idea one. You need to have some kind of cognitive ability and contextual knowledge. So I am talking to you about constructive communication, and if you are going to talk about, if you are thinking about Kantara movie or Ponniyin Selvan or some other movies that had released recently, then there is no communication happening. You have to really contextualize it. Oh, this lady is talking about constructive communication, and we are for this purpose from 7:30 to 9:30 booked. Therefore, let me listen to this. What is she talking about communication? You need to pay attention to that. Okay, and when I next slide, I think will a few slides later, I'll show you an accident. Aviation accident, and that needs a little bit of contextual knowledge. You really need to know what is happening there, and only then you can comprehend the entire thing. We'll see. So the context is also important. Context means the situation. So you need to know what to use in a particular situation. So your language use, your communication changes depending on the situation. We won't be behaving, including the dress code. We won't be behaving in the same way that we behave in a wedding ceremony. We won't do the same kind of things in a funeral ceremony or in a burial situation. We won't do that. When there is an accident and we visit somebody in the hospital, we won't be talking like as if we are in a party hall. Our language changes, our expressions changes, our dress code sometimes changes. All these things are part of constructive communication. There are so many movies that narrate that. If you remember, there was a movie called Amar Akbar. What was that? There was a Prithviraj starrer one, I think Amar Akbar something. Yeah, there, the character by Ramesh Pisharati, he comes to the hospital in a very gaudy kind of clothing. So people will just look at him and say, is this how they have to be? I mean, he has to be present in a hospital when his whoever is sick and get admitted. Think about it. So we make fun of such people who do not belong to that communicative paradigm where we are supposed to behave in a particular way, but we are not behaving that way. So sometimes it evoke laughter, sometimes it will be very very serious. Okay, you are in a particular situation in an academic context, you are in an examination hall. Think about these military intake examinations. You have to be absolutely prim and proper. You can't go in a janky style, you know. It has to be really like your hair has to be trimmed, and you have to wear a particular kind of dress code. So all that communicates, the entire body communicates. That's what now we are going to look at. I'm moving to the next slide.
Mom, your presentation is not visible on the screen. It's gone.
Is it? It's gone. I don't know why it goes off.
Someone else just shared their screen.
So that person has to behave. We are talking about constructive communication. You have to be very constructive in your communication. Don't share it and don't make me do it all over again and again, because it will just take a lot of time. You just be careful with your device. Okay. Yeah. I hope you will cooperate. All of you are nice people, right? So. Alima, is there something for me in the chat box? Nothing? Yeah. Can you see it, Alima?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. So this is, where is this? Other than Alima, Deepak and Lakshmi and Irene, somebody else?
Ma'am, someone has shared their screen.
International?
Someone has presented for your screen.
It's not visible. Okay.
Your screen has gone, ma'am.
My screen has gone. What can we do? Hey guys, please present. Hey guys, please don't present. Stop presenting, please. So if there is an admin, that person should give me the presentation access and not to everyone. Otherwise, it's going to disrupt the entire thing over and over. Okay, trying once. Yes?
Actually, again, your screen has gone.
Yeah, I didn't start sharing because the other one was active. Now it's being shared, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, that's fine.
So this is the situation. Where is this? Which place is this? Can you guess?
Airport.
It's not a simple airport. It's an international airport, right? Because you've got international arrivals there.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Right. Now, can you read what is there? The first person on the left side, who is just, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. He says, what do
I can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen. What
Ma'am,
to do?
we can see your screen, but
We can see your screen.
Okay. Majority.
some internet issues.
Yeah. Probably the
Yes,
internet.
ma'am.
Yes. All right. Thank you. So the first person says, what do I do now? Because the other person is giving the boarding pass below the hand level. When is he going to take it from my hand is what the other person thinking. And the lady is thinking, he seems a bit unfriendly. And the person to whom she is looking forward to thinks, oh, personal space invasion. And the last one with folded hands thinks, I am next. What should I do? What is the problem here?
So, ma'am, can I say?
Yes, please. Yes, go ahead.
Ma'am, I think because they are not communicating here, each and everyone thinks as other things. Like the first person thinks that the other person they are all also so confusing. They are not speaking with each other. The other person next to the lady, he thinks that the lady is intervening in his personal space. The other person thinks that one of them, the lady or the other person, one of them is the authority, and so they do not understand each other. Everyone are customers, I think, but everyone thinks that one of them is an authority.
Oh, is it? Okay. Thank you. Any other comments?
Ma'am, I just think they are all just behaving improperly according to context. Like, that's what I think. They should be taken into account the context and behave appropriately, but they aren't.
Interesting. You know what? The first person is actually asking for it. The boarding pass, probably the card or whatever, the boarding pass in all probability. And the one who is, look at the body language of that person who is giving the boarding pass to him. His shoulders are stooped. He's just leaning forward, bowing down a bit, and then placing the boarding pass below the hand level of the other person. And he's thinking that the other one, the officer, the airport officer, should pick it up from his hand. Do you understand? So I cannot give you this. You have to take it from my hand, is what this guy thinks. The lady and the other man, the lady goes and asks something probably, or just moves close to that person, and that other person thinks that, oh, she's coming too close. Let me just go back. Okay. So there are two things.
Ma'am, once again your screen is gone.
Okay. Now, you have seen that screen, right? I think I can explain with that.
Ma'am, your name is not visible.
What can I do? Others are presenting.
In Zoom, there is a specific feature, but I don't know about Google Meet.
I think somebody has to give the command to me so that I can only present, or all of others have to be attendees. But now I don't know. We will. It's just that I request all of you to just behave so that we can continue with the session, right? So I'll try presenting it again. Please don't present the screen in between. I know naughty people are there, but let's see whether you can just avoid being naughty for some time at least. So is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the problem here is largely the differences in their culture. Okay. So communication, when we talked about linguistics in the sense language, the language problems. We talked about the contextual problems, and now we are going to talk about something very related to the context, which is called culture. Okay. People from different culture, it's very difficult to communicate. Yeah. So there is a standard behavior, which is the person in the beginning part, like the first person is doing, like, give me that. Okay. He asks for it. But the other one is from a specific culture. Okay. If you look at the face carefully, you will be able to understand which country he might be from. You read the body language, you will understand. Japanese are always, a little leaning forward, and they have a culture where, in which they cannot give anything to other person. People have to take it from them. So giving something to the other person is seen as, okay, I have so much, so I am giving you. So that is like high-headedness for them. So they're very humble. They're just lowering the hand and asking, offering, take it from me. And they think that the other person has to take it. But in an international context, in a global context, these cultural intricacies or these cultural complications are not understood by everybody. Okay, people have to have some sensitivity and some sensibility about a particular culture. Only then they will be able to understand this, right? Now, the second thing, the lady and the gentleman, the problem there is not exactly culture, but related to culture again. This is Proximity. Okay, so cultural knowledge plus proximity. Proximity, Proximity. Proximity refers to the nearness. So I stand very close with you, and maybe I shake hands with you, or I touch your shoulder and say that it's all right. There should be some kind of proximity between us. There should be some kind of positive relationship between us, maybe a teacher and a student, or a sister and a brother. So we can easily understand the proximity between two people. The relationship, or not very easily, but still we can understand quite a bit of it if we observe the proximity, the nearness between two people when they are in a communication situation. So two of your friends are communicating. You can look at them and see whether at a distance, even if you're not hearing anything, you can really see whether there is an argument or they are talking peacefully. Look at the pictures of the faces kind of trees. We knew that they are in standstill position, but something communicated to Deepak that they are communicating so peacefully. Okay, so that is because he understood the concept of proximity. He was able to understand that there's no commotion there. In case if there was the branches were moving here and there, some kind of a depiction was there, he wouldn't use the word peaceful. So you see how our understanding of a context going very close to the other person until and unless you have a very personal kind of equation with that person, not for shouting, not even for loving. Okay, so we need to leave enough space between us so that the communication goes smoothly, right? So proximity is also a cultural kind of concept. In India, nobody should behave like the lady goes to the other person, or the gentleman cannot come very close to the other person. Then taking things from our hands, the touch, everything is very important in communication. So I'm giving you something, you can take it from my hand, but then the touch, the way you come closer to me, it all matters quite a lot. So we have to be, as youngsters, you people have to be very sensitive towards it, because you look at the newspapers, or you look at the news, that is being subscribed to, a lot of violence, a lot of issues, just because people do not understand that there should be enough space between others. Space in the sense, the physical space and the mental space. Okay, somebody is not comfortable, somebody is going away from your life, you need to give that space for that person to walk out, right? But because people are very reluctant to do that, there are so many acid attacks, there are so many stabbing cases, so many burning down kind of issues. There are so many things that is happening amidst very young people as well. So you being the cliche thing, tomorrow's citizens, you have to really understand the importance of constructiveness in our life, generally, not just in communication, generally in our lives. It's just like communication and everything else is just like the sand at the beach, the seashore. You go to the beach next time when you go, take a handful of sand, try to hold it very tight in your hands, very very tight, very tight. And then after some time, if you open, there won't be anything in your hand, all that sand will be gone. So the moment you try to get somebody so close to you, so possessive, then eventually the entire spirit of that relationship, or that kind of a wavelength is going to go off. Similarly, you shouldn't be very tight and very strict in your communication. You need to really give space for others to come and voice, and then if they don't feel comfortable, let them have the space to express that I'm sorry, I'm not able to do that, or I'm not able to proceed with this proposal. You need to have, there shouldn't be any threatening kind of situation. I am the boss, I am the team leader, you do this. No, I am the team leader, this is the project that we have to do, why can't we do it this way? And then the other person says no, that is not the right way to do it. Then ask for suggestions. You think that, okay, that person is rude, so let me also be rude. What will be the result? there is no constructive thing that happens there. It will be all chaotic. It will be all damage to yourself and to the other person. So whichever language you communicate, be it Tamil, be it Malayalam, be it Hindi, be it English, be it French, whatever language you communicate peacefully, because that is what we lack. Okay. The second thing, the first time you ask for something, you don't get it. The second time you ask for it, you are denied. And third time you are just, you in the sense, the youngsters, including me, I'm not young, but then still, all of us get angry. Why? There's no need of being angry like that. We have to be just peaceful. Just understand that everybody has a perspective. Alima has an idea. I have an idea. Lakshmi has another idea. Irene has another one. Deepak has another one. Advait has another one. So all of us will have different points of view. All will have different ideas. So let us communicate peacefully. Let us communicate calmly, without interrupting others, without distracting others' ideas, without paying respect to the other person's ideas. So whenever you have to communicate, you have to really be peaceful, calm, and then with mutual respect you need to communicate. That's it, basically. So culture plays a very important role there. Culture in the sense, the Indian culture, the Japanese culture, the British culture, the American culture, different countries' cultures, and subcultures are there as well. Within Kerala itself, if you look at it, you have various cultures, and then that culture has a lot of implications as well. Just one second. No, nothing. Okay. So, yeah, this is what I said. Can you see my screen, Alima?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Yeah, look at the screen. This is an aviation accident. Okay. This is a flight crashing. We had a few crashes these, the last 2 years' time. The Calicut one and all. We know that. Very sad kind of incident. Very, very sad. So many people died in this particular accident. And you know what happened? What caused this accident? Can somebody guess? What could be the reason for an aviation accident? Yes?
Communication problem, I think.
Yes. How do you know?
That's written.
Very good. What's your name?
Hasib.
Hasib. Thank you very much, Hasib. Yes, accurately. It's a communication problem, because I wrote it there and I asked. I just wanted to know whether somebody will give me that answer. Yes. Usually it's engine failure or this, that, and all that results. But then here, this entire accident happened. This could have been avoided if there was no communication gap. Okay. Now you listen to me carefully. 1 second. Yana session, I'm taking that session. So, sorry about that. What I was trying to tell you is that you need to just understand a bit of background. Okay, listen to me carefully. There is an interesting job. You can try that if you are not just into medicine and engineering, and if you're looking for something else, you can look at this job. High paid jobs, okay? Highly paid job. You have to work mostly only 3 days a week. Heavy money, lots of money, posh life, actually stylish life, all that. But the stress level is a very different one. Okay, you get highly stressed out, but it's a very, very interesting kind of job, and that is called ATC. A capital, T capital, and C capital. Both women and men work. Okay, there's no gender disparity. So this is air traffic controllers. Okay, they are the ground staff. That means when the flights are there, they'll be checking it on their screen, and you can see innumerable spots. It's just like Diwali lights or whatever lights you put on. So many blinking lights you can see, and all of them are aircrafts. So these people from the ground, they give commands to the pilots in the cockpit. saying that you have to come to this altitude down, that altitude right, all these north, east, west, all these directions will be given by these ground staff. They are called the air traffic controllers. Just like how an ideal traffic police officer, gives the stopboard or maybe just guide the drivers here and there. These people sitting at the ground inside a tower, which you can see at the airports, that is called the ATC tower. They sit there and they control the entire sky traffic. Got it? Very interesting job. And for that job, I'm just giving just a small input. If somebody is interested, you need to study physics for your +2 and for your degree. If you have a physics component, so many engineers are working as ATC, earn good money, 4-5 lakhs per month, big money. But stress level is really difficult because one day has to begin and finish without any kind of accidents. It's a very big challenge. Okay, you think about the person who was at Calicut airport or maybe at Mangalore airport when the crashes happened. These are tabletop windows. Tabletop. What is that? Landing spaces. So it's really like possible to have many accidents. So to avoid that, to get the flights down, to get them go away, all these things are very demanding, and people have to have strong communication. Okay, so the Airport Authority of India decided that, not Airport Authority of India alone, ICAO. It's called International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. Okay, they have decided that so many accidents happen because of the lack of communication. People will be very good kind of, say, pilots, very good kind of ATCs. They know their job, but if they say left instead of right or north instead of south, there is a problem. Okay, head-on collisions happened at the ground in airports and everybody died. So many incidents are there in the US and everywhere. Okay, in India also there is an incident called Trichy where two flights collided. So all these things they took into consideration and decided that there should be training given for these air traffic controllers and for the pilots in using English. So now you got the idea. Let's look at how this accident happened. Is my screen still visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So what you saw there was a Boeing 707, which was going to New York from Colombia. Okay. It did not receive the priority status. Priority, 2 words you need to remember. Priority means, in the aviation context, priority refers to, okay, the aircraft is in some danger, but not very critical. We need time to land. You can settle down everything there, which is at hand right now, but then immediately let us come down. Okay. Emergency is different. Priority is giving some time. It's not very serious. Emergency is an emergency. They say mayday, 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 and they say that stop everything else, bring us down. That's emergency. So if a flight declares emergency, then the airport goes standstill, fire engines will be at vigil, everybody will be alert. So lots of prayers being sent up, big thing. Okay, emergency declaration. So this flight had some problems. So second approach also it missed. Then it was just circling for the second attempt. Okay. 158 people were there. 73 people died because the flight crashed. Okay, that included the 3 crew members, including the co-pilot, pilot, and 85 people were injured. All this because people could not communicate. So this is what was recovered from the black box. Look at that. The Avianca pilot ordered. You should not think that, okay, why didn't they talk? There is a particular code of language that people have to follow. That's why I said communication has to be always constructive and it has to be very sensible and sensitive. So when you are supposed to speak in a particular language, only like that you can speak. You must have watched this Malayalam movie called Uyare, and in that the woman goes to the cockpit and flies the plane down, and still she is being cornered for that. She's not supposed to do that. So there should be a pilot with good vision, and then there are certain procedures if somebody has to take over the cockpit. So when the main pilot is talking, only he can talk. The co-pilot is giving commands, means only he can give commands. The other one cannot interfere in his business. You need to understand that to understand the entire context. So what happened was that the pilot said to the co-pilot, tell the ATC people that we are in emergency. Okay. And the co-pilot told the controllers, the ground staff, that we are running out of fuel. First of all, he didn't say that we are in emergency. Emergency was not declared. Okay. Then he just said we are running out of fuel. Actually, there was no fuel. They were going to go off actually. Then the pilot said, advise him, we are in emergency. Did you tell him? You tell him we are in emergency. Did you tell that? Something like, I told you to tell them that we are in emergency. Declare it right now. But the co-pilot again says, yes, sir, I already advised him. Look at that. But he didn't say it, right? He said, we are running out of fuel. We are running out of fuel, not we have run out of fuel. We have run out of fuel means there's no fuel. If he says that we are running out of fuel, eventually, slowly, the fuel is running out. Still there is fuel. Do you understand? The simple, the present continuous statement and the present perfect tense. We have run out of fuel, or we don't have any fuel. If you say that, then they'll make sense of it, even if they didn't declare emergency. Okay. So the co-pilot is not actually saying what the pilot is actually advising him to say. Okay. Then they give a lot of advice, lot of climbing this way, that way, and all. And then the controller asks, is that fine with you and your fuel? And this person says, I guess so. Thank you very much. But it is not so. He had to ask for help. Okay. He didn't do that. 9:32 p.m. The crew in the sense the pilots told, we lost 2 engines and we need priority, please. It's not priority, it's emergency. But then the fuel was gone and the flight crashed. So this is what happened. So a few things. Instead of emergency, the co-pilot used priority. Okay. Then he used we are running out of fuel instead of we ran out of fuel or we have run out of fuel. Third thing, he did not obey the pilot, or he did not pay attention to what the pilot said. Advise him, we are in emergency. Did you tell him? And the pilot replied, yes, sir, I already advised him, which is a lie. Okay. But that pilot was not lying, completely not lying. I'll tell you why. Okay. This was the finding about this investigation. So what happened is that the co-pilot who did not obey the pilot was from a country called Colombia. Okay. And Colombia is a country which is quite masculine. That means women cannot question men. All right. So also men do not like to be questioned by anybody else. So just like we have systems in our offices, like the head cannot, the head person, the boss cannot be challenged. Whatever the boss says, yes, Your Honor, we have to obey. Like that. So unquestionable males, men. That is the culture of Colombia. And there is a big problem with this culture, that asking for help is seen as one's own inferiority or one's own lack of skill. So I don't have something, therefore I'm asking you. That is seen as a very bad thing. That's hurting somebody's ego. That's hurting somebody's pride. Do you understand? So that kind of a situation or that kind of a culture was this pilot from, the co-pilot from. Therefore, when the other pilot asked, did you advise? He didn't like it, because in his culture, somebody advising like that shows his inability. And if he admits that, it hurts the pride. Therefore, he said, yes, I advise him, not I tell him, I advise him. Do you understand? The word advised, because he wanted to have his stature back. He wanted to have his position back. So he thought that the pilot is actually insulting him. So to overcome that feeling of insult, he said something which became a lie and which caused the life of so many people. So what I'm trying to say is that when you use language, when you use communication, you have to be very, very careful. And that includes the emojis that you send over WhatsApp or over your Instagram or wherever. There is a case actually in the US. One lady committed suicide, and a few months later, her ex-husband got arrested for murder. Okay, and she committed suicide and he was arrested for murder. Why? Because she wrote a suicide note which was recovered later, in which it was very clearly written that the kind of emojis that he sent to her when she was in a depressed state of mind really resulted in further mental breakdown and she taking the decision for committing suicide. So not just our words, not just our look, not just our nearness, it's also the kind of emojis that we use communicate quite a lot of things. Use them wisely. Use them professionally. I know that you are all students, but if you are not sensitized towards it, how will there be a change? I know that so many of the students use bad words. I mean, I cannot comment on it. It's somebody's freedom. But then you never know how it hits the other person. Hits in the sense how it gets into the head of the other person. You think that it's just like, you call somebody with a Bugs Bunny teeth. My daughter, she has Bugs Bunny teeth. You know Bugs Bunny teeth? A little like upward kind of teeth. And she's not going to school. But then when she goes to my parents, my dad makes fun of her. He calls her Muyal, rabbit. Okay. So she just gets so upset about it. For him, it's just making fun. For her, it's a crisis for her identity. Do you understand? So just calling her a muyal or a rabbit makes her feel like conscious about her tooth or teeth, and then she gets worried. Why should we worry somebody? Be it granddaughter, be it daughter, be it somebody, be it friend, be it a stranger. Why should we just make such comments and make others? We need to be very careful and very nuanced in our communication. Using language, without using language, we have to be very sensitive towards the impact that our words, the symbols that we use can create. Right? Why do so many cricketers get suspended or get dismissed from the entire match or get banned from certain things for such a long time? Because they use inappropriate actions. There was a case of Shane Warne long back, when I was of your age probably. Now, what is constructive communication? Communication that builds and fosters personal, social, and professional relationship between people. That is a bonding that happens. Okay, words can be the means, and it warrants mutual understanding between communicators. So when I say something, you should be able to understand that. Alima, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and the screen is moving?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay. Then it should be non-judgmental. I should not say that somebody's English is bad. Oh, his English is not good. So I would rather prefer this person. There should be equal opportunity given. Maybe that person's English is not good, but then the intellectual ability might be good. The ideas are better than the other person's. So there are so many permutations and combinations that you need to work out when you are communicating with someone. You should not judge a person, okay? And valuing the other party and being empathetic to that person. So you need to understand if somebody is not willing to communicate, you really need to give them space. There was a student in my class, I teach engineering students. so 17, 18-year-old ones, maybe 19, 20 later. So there was a student in my classroom. When I asked, during the first few sessions, we always have fun. So I asked, who is the singer, who is the actor, who is the artist, all sorts of things. So this guy said to me when I was walking by, he said, ma'am, I sing, but I'm so shy. I can't sing in public. I said, what worries you? When I look at people, all their eyes will be on me, and then I feel really scared. I said, okay, I'll ask them to all look down. No, ma'am. Seeing their heads itself will make me so scared of. Right. So he is very good in singing, he said, but he cannot sing. You look at that. There's no communication that happens. Then I said, you come, I'll help you. And what I did, we all were facing him, and I made him turn to the wall, look at the wall, and sing. His name is Kunal. Okay, he sang so beautifully, a very beautiful Hindi melody. And ever since, the kind of applause that he got, he had tears in his eyes, and he turned and he said, "Thank you very much" to all of us. But in some months' time, the arts festivals came, and he was everywhere. So one incident, the thundering applause, which is again a constructive communication, isn't it? If people were just howling, if people were misbehaving, if people were saying, "Arey, what did you do? You don't have any guts to face us." If something like that would have happened, Kunal would not have been that that greater person later. Now he goes for all intercollegiate camp, and he has a band on his own. So wonderful. The first turn was that, you understand. So because all the 65 students in the classroom clapped for him and assured that, Kunal, you are a great singer, even though he is very shy and he cannot face others, which is really bad, because all of them endorsed him, because all of them said that you are very good, he felt that confidence. So why do we live? What do we get? A lot of money? A lot of fun? What fun? Questionable. Then you survive with your parents' money for some time, and then you go into a job, you earn, you party, you go to places, you go to lay on a bike, whatever. You do all those boyish and girlish kind of things, and then what? What do you get from life? What do we want from life? We need good relationships, good friendships, amiable kind of employee-employer relationship, good family relationships. We need people around us. We need respect. We need to respect people. So everything is a give and take kind of thing. You give hatred, you get hatred. Sometimes it's very difficult. You become very nice to others, you get something bad. But then if you stop, just like how Arundhati Roy says, you're all gods and goddesses of lights. Yeah, small things, but then very bright things. That's how we need to aim our life at. And it should be non-aggressive communication. Even if you are very, very angry, you have to say that, in a very, very polite kind of manner. Very polite kind of manner. Recently, I wrote a mail to UGC, University Grants Communication, and it was a little emotional kind of a mail because I was upset about something, and it was a complaint. And then somebody told me that even if you want to say some bad things, even if you want to swear at someone, you have to say it in a very polite manner without hurting that person, by making that person think about what you have done, or what he has done or she has done, and what you are doing right now. So that person should feel ashamed of the activity or the action that person had done. That way it works, but it's not easy, I'm telling you. Right. So now we need to communicate the entire message with clarity. Clarity is very important in constructive communication. You stop halfway through, or maybe you just think that you know it, therefore the other person also know it. Don't take it for granted. The idea is in your head. You remember the birds and the tree. It has to fly over to the other person and perch on that person's head. Only then there is communication. Your idea goes from your mouth, your head, from your mouth here, there, fluttering all the places. What can you get? It doesn't reach the other person. So clarity is very important in communication. You tell what you want. Okay. So when I agreed for this talk, I asked sir how many students might be there and which batch students, what age group students. So he said high school students and higher secondary school students. So I know how to I know how to just pattern it or structure it. If it is to teachers, the entire thing will be very different. The clarity also differs. I can be a little obscure there. Still, I need to manage, maintain clarity, but then I don't have to say everything like a story. Okay, so to make you understand, maybe I am talking too much. This much talking may not happen if it is for teachers or if it is for some company employees and all. Do you understand? So communicating the message with enough clarity is very important. Alima, can you see the slide? Norms of constructive communication?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, objective expression of feelings. That's what I said. I didn't have it. You see, I'm teaching you constructive communication. And when I wrote to UGC, I said I made a mistake, right? Not mistake in writing, but mistake in the tone of the mail. I became very personal. So this is objective expression means even if it's a personal tragedy, you should not just depend a lot on your own perspective. You have to just say it in a very, very paced up, like, you have to just make sure that you're not being very emotional in your expression, right? But then depends on who you communicate with. In professional scenario, in academic scenario, yes, there's no point in saying that you didn't come for the examination. When I ask you why you didn't come, you cannot just cry and say that, oh, these things happen. You have to just say that there was some problem, I was not able to come. And then if I am a teacher who is empathetic, then I have my own ways of inquiring into the problem and being empathizing with you or whatever. That's with the other person. But when you present it, you have to present it systematically, especially when you move out of your higher secondary studies, high school to higher secondary, and from there you go to some professional courses, maybe engineering or medicine or something else. Wherever you go, you will have to have that professional attitude with you and start by nurturing it from right now. Pay attention to the body language of the other person. You will understand that, when you are very carefully observing. Look at the Sherlock Holmes movies and all. Sherlock Holmes and Watson. Sherlock Holmes is much better than Watson in observing, but Watson is also equally good. So they look at the person, they survey this, scene, and they understand the crime scene very well, and they look at certain things that are misplaced. They check the pictures. All these CBI movies also sometimes, not the recent one, but then the old ones are also. It's all about observation. It's all about paying attention to somebody's body language. There is something called forensic linguistics, which means people will be some aspect of it came in a Malayalam movie called Forensics. If you remember, the person's breath will be analyzed. Somebody is not looking into the eyes, somebody is looking elsewhere and saying the exact same thing. So that indicates a lie. Not looking into the eyes and speaking indicates lie. Even if eyes are fixed, if the person narrates the same incident all over again, like 6 to 7 times, exactly the same thing, that indicates a lie. So there are so many things that people can scientifically do with language. So when we communicate, we are actually giving statements about our own outlook, our own personality. Okay, so you go for a wedding in a very shabby dress, you're presenting yourself in a very bad way. People can actually formulate judgments. Whether that those judgments are going to make an impact on you or not is different, but sometimes it can actually cause a lot of impact. Don't mix complaints and compliments. This is something that all Malayalis do invariably. Okay, so for example, Alima is wearing a nice salwar, and then I'm saying that dress. I'm saying that Alima, your dress looks really beautiful. But you know what? It would have been much better in a violet color. So I am mixing a compliment with a complaint. like it would have been better. Then why do I compliment? Do you understand? So when you are complimenting, just give the compliment. You know there is a system like good news variably wants the bad news first and then good news second. If we have something in our plate which we love to eat and which we hate to eat, mostly the trend is that if it is mandatory to eat, people will eat the worst one which we don't like first and go for the ones that we like at the end so that the taste lasts. I mean, people are different, but generally this is how people will do. Don't mix complaints and compliments that way. Okay, you stick to one each. If you are complaining, complain elegantly. If you are complimenting, do it wholeheartedly. Say thank you, say it's good, wonderful, compliment each other. So whenever you get an opportunity to say good things about each other, say that you look good, this earring looks good on you, this shirt is good on you, the boots are nice, the bag is good, your handwriting is very beautiful, right? So say that yeah, I can hear some crosstalk. Then don't escalate conflict by bringing issues from the past. This is something that we all do. Okay, you having a quarrel with your mom and your mom starts saying, hi, you know what, you do this all the time. Last week also you did the same thing. Last time when you did this, I told you that you shouldn't be doing this. So we bring a lot of things from our past and just place it in the present, and then we make arguments. I know that you will be doing because you did it in 2012. People will say. Okay, so this past hanging around in the present is not a good thing when it comes to communication, especially when there is a conflict. When two people are arguing, they should just situate themselves in the present and argue, not bringing things from the past. Don't be defensive. Okay, defensive in the sense, if you have done something wrong, if you have misplaced something, then own it up. Say that, yes, I did that, but then, I had a reason for that, but I'm really sorry about it. I will be very careful next time. You can give the reason, but it shouldn't be like, what is wrong? I have done that because this is what I thought. I don't think I have any mistake in my part. So instead of doing that, instead of being very defensive, you can actually apologize if you know that that's your mistake. So own up to your mistake and voice it in communication. It's very important. Don't stonewall. Somebody is throwing a bad word at you and then it reaches the stonewall, hits and comes back. No, don't do that. Don't be just like, whatever you shower at me, yeah, give me. No. When somebody is alleging something, when somebody is saying that you have done wrong, you also can speak. Not in a defensive tone. If you have to defend, yes, you can. But if it is not your mistake, you should really defend. That's right. You need to say things. I am not a stonewall. You can't just get going by saying that you have done wrong when I haven't done wrong. You need to really talk, articulate your feelings, articulate your ideas. So what do we require actually? We need willingness to communicate. I asked a few questions. Only 4 or 5 people managed to answer. It's not about managing to answer. It's about willingness. You need to be willing. Somebody is giving you a lecture. You have a platform like this, a wonderful one actually. So many students and so many people are coming and delivering lectures. These opportunities are very rare. I am sitting here in Tiruchirappalli, which is near Tanjavur. Very long way from Kerala, where your places are. Deepak is in some place, Alima might be in some other place, somebody might be from Trivandrum, somebody might be from Malappuram. All these places are very detached and distant. And when you get a platform like this, make the maximum out of it. You talk to people, you interact with them. So your willingness to communicate is very important. Okay, and to identify your own communication errors. I'm using something like some wrong expressions, and when I am corrected, I shouldn't be like that co-pilot. I should be able to correct myself, right? So corrections can happen at any level. Students can correct a teacher, teacher can correct students, students can correct each other. So whenever there is a correction happening, you have to be obliged to that. You need to understand that, yes, I have made a mistake and this person is correcting me. This is a correct form. Therefore, let me just erase it from my memory and place this new idea here. You need to do that. Otherwise, repeated errors. That's what I said. Now, willingness to take risks in communication. Sometimes you have to do that. You don't know the place. Suppose you go to the UK, and I studied there. And when I went there, it was really difficult for me to understand the accent. I was in a place called Yorkshire. Okay, Yorkshire has a very different kind of accent. We make fun of the Trivandrum accent and Kasargod accent and all, right? Not only accent, the language. These people had a very different kind of accent. Some words we don't even understand. Loof. So what is loof? I haven't heard of a word like loof. They're saying love. Okay, so love is pronounced as loof. Bus. What is bus? It's actually bus. Do you understand? So such big differences. So whenever I didn't understand, I thought that, my God, I should just evade any situation to communicate. I just take a day rider, the bus ticket. For the entire day, I can go anywhere I want and show it to the driver and then go and sit quietly. I could do that. I did that for 2 months. I didn't develop my language. I felt like socially excluded. Then I started slowly asking questions. Okay, King John Square, Queen's Railway Station, all these things. I started communicating in small little bits, and then I tried to understand what they said and question them back. Do you mean this? Do you mean Roundhay? Do you mean, Bradford? I started asking them questions and they were ever so patient to respond. So that was a risk that I took in communication, something that I was not very sure whether I can manage. I tried. And that trying is very important. So when you know that this kind of classes are there to help you with your English, if you complain, as I saw in the chat box initially, if you complain that what is there, we all are here to learn English, and then you be passive, recipients. No, you have to take risk and try to talk to the person who is talking to you. Try to frame short sentences. Try to make it very simple. Even if words can be used for questions, you use that. It's okay. And nobody is going to insult you. So every single chance you use. Now, spoken communication, you need to really think before you speak, but make sure that you speak. It shouldn't be like thinking and thinking and thinking and you don't speak. No, you should think and speak. Just frame it in your head and speak. Eventually, it will become so automated, so easy, so automatic, and it just comes out. And don't repeat yourself. Sometimes repetition is required, but if you repeat yourself, there are some people who are very, very boring, saying the same thing over and over, and that just kills the beauty of communication. Listen carefully and actively. There are two types of things. One is listening and one is hearing. Alima, is my slide visible?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So listening and hearing are two different things.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. You can hear and you can just not listen to it. You will hear so many things. So that is what our parents say, ഇതുവഴി കേട്ട് ഇതുവഴി പോയി. They say that, right? So it comes through this way and it goes through this way. That's it. That's not actual communication. It has to be absorbed here, just like the birds perching. The idea has to be there in your head. So you listen to things very carefully, right? Take turns. So even now I try to take turns. I try to invite more people to talk, but just looking at the clock, I know that I have to finish in another 5 minutes time. So I'm not giving you the space to talk. But otherwise, I was trying to just elicit some kind of responses from your part. So a conversation should not be just one-sided. You should always allow the other person to talk. Be polite. I told you. Use a lot of excuse me, thank you, wonderful, I'm grateful. don't hurt others. Okay, understand the culture of the interlocutors. You need to understand what kind of a culture that person is coming from, and then you have to be really like, if that person is from a see the I'll make it very simple. Somebody whom you know very surely that that person doesn't know how to speak in English. He or she is from a Malayalam medium school, or from a Tamil medium school, or from a very remote area where there is a tribal school where their language is mostly being used. To such a student, if you are a Delhi public school student, or maybe a Cambridge returned scholar, you are talking in Queen's English. Yeah, that's not fair. You have to be slow down. You have to be very empathetic. Most of the foreigners are. Yeah, most of the foreigners are very empathetic when it comes to communication, because they want them to be understood by others. Therefore, you need to understand the lack of strength or the weaknesses of the other person, and pause your conversation that way. Use positive vocabulary. Positive vocabulary in the sense, don't use a lot of negative things. Don't say I don't like, I don't agree, I hate to do that, I disagree with you. Instead of saying I disagree with you, you can say that yeah, I think I see your point, but I have a very different point to make. I have a different opinion. Rather than saying I disagree, you are wrong. Do you understand? So use your language a little more politely. Speak pleasantly and appropriately. So if you're just saying that today I am going to deal with communicative classrooms and constructive communication, and if I go with the same pitch, by now you will be so bored. I'm not saying that you're not bored now, but me being inviting your attention, me being calling out some names, smiling at sometimes, and I think I'm pleasantly delivering the talk. I have no idea how you perceive it, but this was my intention. When you do something so pleasantly, there's a smile on the other person's face as well. The situation calms down, and there is a lot of happiness around you, a lot of peacefulness around you, which will actually create the communication in a very smooth channel. Okay, now there is a quick quiz for you, and we can stop with that. I had some more slides, but then we will stop with this. I need answers for this. Which of the following fall into the constructive communication paradigm? You left the room a mess. I get upset if the room is untidy. Which is better? Lakshmi?
I get upset if the room is untidy.
Yes, because the first one is actually pointing at the other person. You left the room a mess. Do you understand? You are a messy person. You just messy person, not the footballer. Okay, you left the room a mess. Rather than that, you can say that I get very upset if the room is untidy, which is actually communicating the same thing. You have made a mess out of it. Clear it off. Do you understand? Now, second one. Could you tell me his address, please? Tell me his address.
Could you tell me his address, please?
Use all these. Would you like? Could I? Could you? Can is less polite. Could is comparatively better. Would you is even more polite. Rather than saying, give me. I had students who tell me, like, give me my attendance. Very nice. I give you your attendance. Ask me in polite fashion. Then, shall I come in to the class? May I come in is better, isn't it? So we need to use such language nuances wherever possible. I understand what you feel, but I think there is another side to the issue. I think you have absolutely misunderstood it. Which is better?
I understand what you feel, but I think there is another side to the issue.
Yes, you are not saying that you misunderstood it. You're saying that I am with you, but then you need to look at it in a very different way. Both are saying the same thing, but in two different ways. So this first one here is something that we need to really go for. I couldn't help it. There was heavy traffic. I'm sorry that I'm delayed, but I got stuck in traffic.
I'm sorry that I'm delayed, but I got stuck in traffic.
Yes. So you actually own it up. There is a mistake. You are late. So you are not saying that I'm not late. I couldn't help it. You see, It is not my problem. Traffic, bad traffic, I couldn't help it. You're not saying that. You're actually saying that, yes, I know that I'm late and I apologize for that. I'm sorry that I'm delayed, but you know what? I got stuck in traffic. Do you get it? Now, I'm afraid I have a different perspective on it. I think you are wrong.
I'm afraid I'm
Yes, I'm afraid I have a different perspective on it. It's not I am afraid. It's not about being scared. It's a polite phrasing that we do. I'm afraid I can't come with you, which means I think it's very difficult for me to come with you. Yeah. So here the person is saying, I think I have a different perspective on it. Instead of saying, I think you're wrong. Instead of saying, I'm afraid you're wrong, because that is pointing your finger at the other person. You know, you are wrong. That is wrong. Okay. Now, we will stop here and I'll take questions, queries, whatever. Thank you very much, people. I had some pictures for you, something about emails and other things, but that's okay. This one I wanted to tell you. Myself, Shaila. What's the problem here? There is an error here. Can somebody spot it out?
Who are you addressing? Yeah, like that audience you're addressing. I don't understand specifically.
Deepak, the problem is that some people use it instead of I am Shayla or my name is Shayla. People just say myself, Shayla. Myself is not supposed to come in the first part. Okay, it's not.
Ma'am,
yes.
Shouldn't there be any greeting?
No, it's not about greetings only. It's about the construction itself. You have to use I am Shayla or my name is Shayla, not myself Shayla. Myself is a very distorted kind of use. That should not come there. So many people use myself so and so. Not very common in Kerala, but once you move out of Kerala for your studies, you will hear a lot of people saying myself so and so. Very stylistic, very stylish kind of people coming to the stage, taking the mic and saying myself so and so. And you may feel, I have seen so many of my Malayali students falling into that trap, like myself so and so. No, it is always I am so and so or my name is so and so. Myself so and so is a wrong expression. You will soon hear it. I'm sure about that. I cannot be able to believe that the holidays are over.
Cannot and not
okay. I cannot not be able to. Not just that. Even if it is
and able.
Yes.
And able to. There is
Yes.
no need of cannot, not, and able together.
Yes, absolutely.
Just say, I cannot believe that the holidays are over.
Great. Otherwise, I am not able to believe.
I'm not able to believe.
Yes, those are the ways. You cannot use cannot and able together in a sentence, which you will again hear. Some of you might be using it. I don't think so. He is telling the truth.
There is no need of so.
So, no need of so.
Yes.
I don't think he is telling the truth.
I don't think he is telling the truth. Okay. So is not required. So when you are using I don't think so, that should be a full stop there. I don't think so. He's not telling the truth. I don't think so. Is he telling the truth? I don't think so. That way it can go. But it cannot be just jammed. I don't think I can join you. Why? Because I have a class now.
Miss, you could just add a question mark. I don't think I can join you, a full stop. Why? A question mark, and we can make it a question like a sentence, or we could just avoid the why.
We should avoid the why. We just have to avoid the why, because
why?
Why? Because is a bad thing, not bad thing. It's a direct translation from Malayalam, Tamil, Hindi, and all. Endu kondanal. So endu why? Kondanal, because we just attach it and we say that why because. Why because is a wrong construction. So I don't think I can join you because I have a class now. Because means endu kondanal. Why?
Miss, couldn't we make it like I don't think I can join you Why? Because I had class right
Yeah,
now.
but then in that case, why should
We'll
be
cut
said
off the one.
by somebody else? Right?
Yes.
Why should be said by somebody else? I don't.
Ma'am,
Yes.
in some situations, like I heard people like not our nation's people, like foreigners who some mother tongue is English, like say like when they're really fed up of something or hearing something like, I cannot join tonight, like I cannot hear this. Why? Because I have this to do, I have that to do, and they'll
Yeah, when we are fed up.
Very conversational one. That is true. That is true. Yes, you are right, Deepak. And Alima, were you speaking to me?
Iron.
Question? Whoever was telling me the female voice that accompanied.
I am Iron.
Irene, yes, Irene, you are right. So in that case, just like self-meditating kind of stuff, I don't think I can join you. Why? Because I have a class now. That way, yes, correct. I would like to discuss about their plan.
I don't think that about should be there.
I think there's no need of
There is no need of about.
About is not required. I would like to discuss their plan. So when we are using discuss as a verb, we should not use about along with that. I would like to have a discussion about their plan is fine. Discussion on their plan is also fine. But discuss about is not coming together. It doesn't collocate together. It's our neighbor is tested positive for COVID-19. What's that?
I don't think
Tester is tester needed?
I think
One of my neighbors.
is not needed.
Neighbors.
Yes, somebody said it. One of my neighbors is tested positive. One of my neighbors. So many neighbors are there. One among them is tested positive. That's right. One of them. So the mistake is when you use one of, you tend to use the singular after that. No. One of my friends, one of my neighbors, one of my dresses, one of my shirts, one of my teachers, one of the students. So after one of, then the next noun should be plural. And you are still focusing on that one person. Therefore, the verb should be the singular one. So this is a common mistake that happens in our daily life. I don't know nothing about it.
Miss, we can make it I don't know anything about it instead of nothing, right?
Yeah, double negatives are not required. I don't know anything about it, or I know nothing about it. I don't know anything about it, or I know nothing.
There are negative impressions.
Not just impressions, it's double negatives being used. You don't have to use double negatives. You just have to use that. So this is just, letting you know that there are so many errors in our day-to-day communication, and it will be really good if we rectify them and go and practice the right version. So if somebody was using discuss about something, cut it off. You should understand that there's no discuss about. It's discuss. Therefore, your repertoire, your language pool, your vocabulary, everything gets better. All right. So I'll stop presenting. If you have any questions, if you have any discussions, any comments, we can have now. Asha Lada Bhaskaran, madam. Thank you very much. Yes. Hi, Rafi. Hi, Khadija. Anybody? Oh, people just went for dinner, I think. 57, I can see. We started with A. Sunira. Sunira, ma'am is written as, I'll type it, M-A apostrophe A-M, because it is the contracted form of madam. So B we are taking off, therefore ma'am should be spelled like this. 2A in between an inverted thing. Yeah. Thank you very much, Anamika. Yes.
Okay, ma'am, I will rectify. Your class was very superb.
Thank you. Thank you, darling. Thank you, Fasi, Saeed.
Ma'am, actually, ma'am, today's class was so energetic and
Really?
like you were doing, so it was so powerful, like your words.
I look very powerful, right?
No, your words.
Thank you very much.
Okay, ma'am.
And I
Hello.
maybe thank you.
Your your
Hi.
first impression was really positive, and then you kept the flow, and the class was really interesting.
Thank you very much, Irene. Some feeds. Yes,
Your
Deepak, you.
class was very enthusiastic up to the last.
Right. Thank you.
The class was really awesome, ma'am.
Thank
And a
you.
vibrant
Thank you.
class.
Right. Thank you so much, Shifa. Thank you, Fasi. And Deepak, were you saying something? I heard a male voice in between.
Yes, ma'am. I was gonna tell that I'm Deepak Arona, studying at the 10th Standard Government Higher Secondary School there in Nor, and I have in fact very much enjoyed this session. It was really, really energetic, and like you got my full attention all the time. Like the way you handled the class. The way you
I know you were with me. We were on the same page from the beginning till end. Thank you very much for the Deepak. And the other girls, yeah, they were really good. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, I am usually so nervous when I speak in English to a stranger or a person I have never heard of. So I
Really?
usually stutter at first, and then I get embarrassed.
But then you were so comfortable. I didn't find
But
any
then I
kind-
got comfortable
Good.
at the class and all.
Good. Very interesting. Thank you very much, everyone. Alima, Arifa, Sunira. Thank you very much. So I think if there is nothing else, then we can stop. I wish you people all the best. Be a great generation, people. You people have to really bring some changes to our society. I'm really sad about what's happening in our society. So just be so constructive in your relationship. Let things go if you can't help it. Just don't cling on to something and don't have vengeance in your mind. Just let it go. Just like that song, Frozen song, let it go, like that. Thank you very much. Great, Shankaran, Muralidharan Shankaran. I don't know who that is, but then very long name. Maybe you have logged in from your dad's ID. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Right. It's my father's name.
Yes. Great. Your name?
My name is Gauri Nandaviti.
Gauri. Yes, Gauri. Thank you very much. So is that all, Alima? Can we wind it up? I am also hungry.
Yes, ma'am, sure. The session is over.
All right, great. Bye, guys. Thank you very much. See you sometime somewhere.
Bye, miss. Thank you, miss.
Bye,
Good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Lots of love.
We will explain your class again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye, Fal.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anamika, take charge of this situation. Anamika, where are you?
Sir, can I continue?
Yeah, you are supposed to. Where are you?
Thank you, ma'am. Your class was very informative and interesting to all of us. Now, I would like to call Sia Rahman from GHSS Madapalli for delivering the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Good evening to one and all gathered here. On this wonderful evening, I would like to present the vote of thanks. We take this golden opportunity we take this golden opportunity to thank the respected chief guest Saidalavi sir who inaugurated the function, and Karthika ma'am who was the RP. Thank you. And I extend my gratitude to Anamika who presided over the function, and Paunami who sang a beautiful prayer, and Haya Khalil who welcomed the gathering. It is my pleasure to thank the dignitaries dignitaries not only for participating but also guiding for us to a beautiful life. Thank you. Last but not least, I thank the teachers, students, parents who participated these functions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sia. Now it's time to wind up our today's session. I would like to thank you all once again for your encouragement and for joining with us in today's session. Thank you.